Hey, welcome back to the Think Bigger Real Estate Show. Excited to be here today with a very good friend of mine, Josh Freeberg.
Yeah, good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too, man. I bumped into this guy yesterday down here in New Orleans, and we made a commitment that we were going to put this together, make it happen, but I don't think neither of us knew we were going to be able to make it happen this fast.
Yeah, right? I didn't at all. And then I was like, saw you in the hallway and said, hey, let's do this. We're both here. Might as well.
It's been a great event. I know I love to come.
Yeah.
I love to go to conferences in general. This is one of my favorite because there's so much knowledge in such a short period of time.
Isn't that true? Yeah. This is my 9th one, and it's hard to say, right? You always say like, oh, that was the best one ever. Yeah. There are some really unique things that are happening in the real estate industry that I don't know, maybe you're happening in human history. It's hard to say, but certainly in the real estate industry, and to be front of that conversation and to hear from the best of the best in that was really a privilege this year, and a lot of energy, of course, which is just the fun of conferences too.
It was great. So a couple key takeaways. That's what we promised you. So we could chat all day, but we'll get right to the real meat. So for me, a big aha that I had is as you know, I've talked about disruption a lot. Yeah. I've mentioned that the real estate industry is being disrupted.
Oh, for sure.
And it is, right? That's not hype, that's reality.
Yeah.
And I've always seen AI as being a real threat to the industry. This weekend, my mindset shifted, and I started to see it, if properly gone about, AI doesn't have to be a threat. It can be the most powerful leverage tool to empower great agents to continue to be well paid, to not be paid like baristas or Uber drivers, right?
Right.
But to be paid as they are, but adding more value. And that's always what I've thought is like, if agents are going to continue to get paid what they get paid, they're going to have to add more value. Yeah. And today or this weekend, I had this mindset that AI is not the thing that's going to cause them to be marginalized and their margins compressed. It's going to be the thing that allows them to add more value, which was cool.
Absolutely. Well, right. And the old story of the Luddites, right, which is now just a word that means somebody who's against technology, right? But the Luddites were a group of people who went in and like smashed weaving looms, right, where you could make cloth. They were actually a group of people, and it was like, uh-oh, those looms are taking our jobs of weaving together cloth.
I haven't heard this story. Maybe some of you haven't either.
Yeah,
Great. Keep going.
So that's where the term Luddite comes from, if you've ever heard that term before. And what we can't do is say, uh-oh, like the machines are going to beat us, and I need to somehow be against the machines, or I'm going to refuse to participate. Instead, it's like, wait, how can this machine make my life better? Yeah. And the reality is that so many of us are living with machines that make our lives better, right? Yeah. And it doesn't have to be high tech, right? Yeah. I mean, the shovel made people's lives easier before, using a stick. And now, hey, my smartphone makes my life better. And here's the other interesting thing is, I think people are afraid of technology because they think, uh-oh, I have to be tech savvy. But what Apple taught us, what the smartphone taught us is I don't understand how my phone works. Do you understand how your phone works?
No idea.
Not at all, right? Yeah. I don't know how my car works anymore either.
Yeah.
And yet I use my car, I use my iPhone, right? And so it's simply a matter of being willing to commit to the process of learning how to use the technology. Yeah. And then allow the technology to enhance what you already are, right? So, hey, guess what? I've got birthday reminders in my phone. It actually makes me a better friend and son and brother, right? Because I remember my people's birthdays. Yeah. And so the technology makes me a better human being.
Well, and I became acutely aware. I mean, some of the technology that's being rolled out in the real estate industry now is similar to why you and I love Amazon. But the reality is your Amazon's different than my Amazon.
Oh, for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
You go to Amazon, you get a certain experience. I go to Amazon, I get a different experience. We both love it. Same thing with Netflix.
Yeah.
And what I realize is that agents have tried to do that for a long time. And that's why they've worked their absolute brains out to try and create that customized experience for their clients. And now using artificial intelligence, they have the ability to offer a very customized experience at scale. Yeah. And not have to be managing spreadsheets constantly to make it happen. Yeah, that's a powerful concept.
Absolutely. Well, a real simple example of that, right? A good real estate agent will say, hey, Justin, you're looking to buy a home in the next 30 days. So now you've really risen to the top for me as somebody I need to be paying attention to. So I might go in and check out our hot sheets once a day to see if there's any new listings that match your criteria. But that's a highly labor intensive practice, and it's a very human practice. So, I mean, it's just going to take a lot of time. It's a lot of effort to send you what you need.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. You're not going to move right now. you might not be looking to move for a year, 2 years, or 5 years, but you like looking at houses. Who doesn't, right? It's like one of the best forms of voyeurism is looking at other people's houses. And yet, so we do that, right? We're looking at houses. We're sort of window shopping for houses, but I can't, listen, if you're 5 years out, I can't do that.
So
I have limited resources.
You go broke.
Yeah, right? I'd go broke.
And honestly, if I'm 5 years out, I'm less interested in houses than I am if I'm 3 years or 3 months out.
Absolutely.
1 month out, right?
Absolutely.
You're less relevant to me.
Right.
In that conversation.
And by the way, I've got a huge ramp up period to get to know you and what your preferences actually are in the midst of that.
Right.
Unless I've had this machine sitting on your shoulder for 5 years, that every time you go in and look at how, every time you drive by an open house and you open up your phone and go, hey, what's going on with that one? And every time you go in and be like, man, I like granite countertops better than Corian countertops, you know, and I like, you know, stainless steel better than white appliances. And it is tracking, it's doing that for you. Now all of a sudden it's just like, you've had this experience, right? You're on Facebook and all of a sudden you're like, how did it know I like those shoes?
Yeah, it followed me from
right. It followed
Zappos.com.
Right. And now, first of all, once you get over the Big Brother aspect of that, because that feels a little like creepy at first. Does, yeah. But when you actually embrace that and go, hey, that's actually cool. I actually like that thing, and I like that it follows me around. What if your technology is able to say, hey, I happen to notice that you like these kinds of houses. So now you're 3 months.
Or second homes in Bend, or whatever it is you're looking at.
Oh, for sure.
And it starts to deliver me stuff that is exciting to me as opposed to stuff that's irrelevant to me, right?
Oh, yeah. And I think version 2.0 that we're going to see of this is your investor profile. Yeah. Like, hey, this is what I'm looking for from a cap rate. These are the types of properties I like investing in. Yeah. And it's like, hey, by the way, we have one of those in Boise, Idaho that might fit your criteria. We have one in Corpus Christi, Texas that might fit your criteria.
Interesting.
Right. And hey, that's how you can become a real big deal in investing too. So this is going to be such a value add for our real estate agents for their clients. Yeah. Right. And hey, this is just one technology platform. We happen to think it's the one that's leading the pack right now. And regardless of what you're doing in real estate, if you're in real estate, you have to be embracing the technology, and you've got to be paying attention right now. Yeah. You've got to be paying attention right now, because there's a whole lot of travel agents, there's a whole lot of cab drivers that will tell you, they got blindsided. They'll tell you it happens faster than you think it's going to.
Totally, 100%, Josh. You know, it's been fun for me today because, again, I texted Josh this morning and I said, hey, buddy, will you be on my show? I'm traveling. I don't have like my typical kind of studio and guests. He's like, yeah, but I'm teaching all day. You got to come. And after you hear me teach, which is one of my favorite things to do, is hear this guy teach. So I got to sit and listen to him. And then at that point, he promised to like do this.
Yeah,
so,
of course.
So he's actually promised a couple of things that I saw today that are like gold for real estate agents. He's actually promised to offer to me so that I can put him in the Think Bigger Real Estate group. Yeah. So that you guys can have access to them. So Josh, tell us a little bit about.
Yeah, so one thing I want to give you guys is so I work for the 5 Doors Network. We have 12 locations across the U.S. And we did about $9 million in gross commission income last year. Awesome. We've got 162 agents. Really fun company to work for, and I serve as the dean of our university.
Isn't that cool? Let me say it again. He's the dean of the university of a real estate company. Have you ever heard of such a position? Right. I thought he made that up, but
well, I did make it up, and then I made it a reality.
Today, like it was legitimized. Like that isn't just a title that Josh made up because it sounds cool. Like he actually is that. And he did a great job.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. It was a lot of fun. So one of the things that we've created for our real estate agent members that they've given us continued feedback, like this is one of the best things, and we love making it available to any of our friends in the real estate industry, is our weekly rhythm.
Cool.
And there's a couple pieces of research that went into this. The first one is that when you look at top agents and top agent teams, over 70% of their business is always driven from 3 sources, maybe 4, right? But from 3 sources of business. Now, ask me what 3 sources of business.
What 3 sources of business?
Yeah, it's different for each one of them, but it's never more than 3, except for one. One is always the same, which is sphere of influence and referral. And then it's 2 others. Now, for us, we chose neighborhood or farming, right? And we chose open houses because those are just great, consistent places. So that was our first piece of research. 3, maybe 4 sources of business. The other piece of research that we looked into, and this wasn't deep research, We noticed that realtors are kind of squirrely. Have you noticed that?
I have a little bit.
Right.
Not all of you, but a lot of you.
Yeah. But hey, and by the way, I say this as a realtor. I'm squirrely.
And they're actually my favorite people besides my family. So, you know, I can say that.
Me too. I have deep love for real estate agents. And my wife's married to one. So but what I noticed in me is I like variety. Okay. And yet I know what succeeds in business is consistency. So how do you marry variety and consistency? Well, the way you marry variety and consistency is to do things weekly rather than daily. See, daily gets to be a grind, gets to be a drag. But weekly, it's like, oh, hey, it's Tuesday. I'm actually excited to call my sphere. Yeah. So we have a 7-day program of what an agent's perfect schedule would look like over 7 days. We call it the weekly rhythm. It's a rhythm of Monday is lead follow-up, Tuesday is sphere of influence, Wednesdays and Thursdays are neighborhood, Friday is Freeform Friday, where you choose a niche to deep dive on, and Saturday's open house. Right? Take Sunday off and get to do it again on Monday.
I love it.
And our people get really energized by that, and we'd love to provide it for your Think Bigger real estate show.
That'd be great. Thanks, Josh. I appreciate that. So look forward. If you're not yet a member of the Think Bigger Real Estate group on Facebook, go find it. There's a page. That's not it. It's the group. Go join access to the group. That's where these great resources are going to live. Yeah. And I want to thank you for all the value that you poured into me today. And of course, to the audience today. So thanks, everybody, for tuning in. If this has been helpful, do me a favor, share it. That would mean the world to me, and it would get this out to a wider audience. So thanks again, buddy. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
And we'll talk to you all later.
Talk soon.